Right?
Oh, amazing. Yeah.
And Howie Berger's in it too. He's been doing stuff for a long time. Howard Berger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The B.
Yeah.
The B and the K.
No, I think Nicotero. Hey, all three of them, K and B.
They're all three are three are in that. Yeah. They've been working with Robert Rodriguez since, did they do Desperado? I can't remember. But I mean, it does look very like Desperado.
I would assume so, because there's a lot of blood and violence in the movie.
The movie's so good.
And From Dusk Till Dawn. Ugh. So they had done From Dusk Till Dawn already.
Yeah, they had definitely had, I mean, Nicotero had done, I mean, he did Day of the Dead was the first thing he did. So, I mean, he definitely had some stuff bringing into it.
There were flyers in the school for a performance from the band from Dusk Till Dawn. Yeah,
Tito and the Tarantula. I like that band a lot. It's kind of like they do like, I guess you would call it like outlaw music.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Star is Born, but Bradley Cooper's character plays new outlaw music. That's what his style is. Tito and the Tarantula is a lot like that.
I like that. And
they're a great band.
I will never be able to forget the scene where they're playing human body parts.
Oh, yeah.
When I saw that from Dusk Till Dawn, my 16-year-old self, 15-year-old self was like, I will never be the same. I saw when I was 15. I was like, I'm done.
Well, I think we all became men whenever we saw From Dusk Till Dawn.
Exactly.
Salma Hayek.
Salma Hayek. Hey, she's in this too.
Yeah.
I don't know, but the special effects. What did you think about the monster?
Oh, I love the monster. I thought it was very well done. I mean, it was you look at it, it's kind of like they combined it's like a squid, but made it like a slug too, and I love that. I love the way it looked, and it didn't look like anything that you had seen before. I couldn't really compare it to anything. I love the scene of her walking nude also through the gym. And the shadow that's above her, because obviously they're not going to show nudity. Yeah. They didn't really show nudity in this movie.
Like a silhouette and stuff, yeah.
They silhouetted her by using like the tentacles of what she really was as that above her. I love that. That is so cool.
It's good use of light, for sure. Yeah. Sure, there was talent behind the camera.
Of course.
And then what I like was, so she was kind of ungainly outside of the water. But once she got in the water, this flowed in the way that the body, you know what, like I loved seeing that creature in the water. It just seemed so natural.
Yeah, like a jellyfish almost.
Yeah. And what I like about this, the cinematographer, his name's Enrique Chediak. He did 127 hours, 20 weeks. Chediak? Chediak.
Yeah.
But he's done some slick movies in the past, but we can talk about that later. So that monster, though, I guess it's pretty interesting how a little person can change into a massive thing. But that doesn't bother me.
No, it's
because it's part of the movie. It just works, right?
Yeah, it's I like that a lot. I like how she then is like the sweet and innocent person, but she has to put on a disguise. It's almost like, with Superman and Clark Kent.
Yeah,
like her interpretation of a human would be this kind of like weak, like sweet
blonde,
person, sweet person. But in reality, like who they really are is like they can kick everyone's ass.
Jensen's like, I know who you are.
Don't you try to lie to me, NB.
You're down there saying you're from Atlanta.
You know darn well you're from Klingon 5.
And they're a bunch of jerks. But I like that they built a monster in this. Like it's a memorable monster. And you don't really see that in too many films from now on. And I also love at the end the football team. I love just them running around, clackling all over the place. I love the bit about Elijah Wood saying he only runs when chased.
Yeah.
But then he's really fast.
Yeah.
That's what Robert Patch's like, you should join the team.
And his dad's like, you hear that, son? He's like, yeah, I did.
He's a wiry little guy. And then also another question we got from Allie Maxwell. She's like, why would they destroy that beautiful car? It was a beautiful machine. So Zeke gets attacked by Famke, and then he destroys his car to decapitate her. I mean, I guess you have to.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a rule in movies. Whenever you see a gorgeous car like that, there's no choice. It's going to be blown up.
Yeah, and I was looking at the body, and that was probably something painted up. They wouldn't destroy that GTO, so they probably found like a body and put it over.
Oh yeah, it's probably in reality it was like a golf cart.
I mean, because I'm like that. If they destroyed an actual vehicle like that, that'd be terrible.
You see, Robert Rodriguez was like, no.
How do you explain that to insurance companies?
Yeah.
So Zeke later on, so an alien invasion happened. I had my teacher in my car. She's fine now, by the way. We're dating. But I had to decapitate her by driving into a school bus.
Stop looking at me like that.
Yeah. What?
Act like you've met your wife at Publix or something.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Yeah. So. Yeah, it was pretty sweet core. You want to know something cool? The two druggy guys, Danny Masterson and Wiley Wiggins, was one of them.
It was Mitch from Days Confused that just a few years prior to that.
What a great movie.
Danny Masterson, man. Oh my God, yeah. What happened to that guy? He did The Ranch, and then that was... is he still doing that?
I don't want to get into it, but he got a ton of allegations for years about his... I don't want to get into it. They're listening. So... no,
that's all right. I understand.
But I guess as we're moving along... let's see.
You know what I noticed about when doing research on all the crew members of this movie is that Robert Rodriguez likes to use a lot of people that don't stick to one thing. Like he uses people that have been a lot of different things. For instance, the line producer was the first AD on the second unit of The Big Green, and he was the second AD on Carrie.
Oh,
so he was an AD, then he became a producer.
Interesting.
He was also the UPM.
Oh, wow.
So in the same movie.
I think it's good to have a producer who's also an AD because they know how to move the set.
Exactly. And then they also, what's also really good about that is that they know how the movie would be going. So they know that the problems that normal people who don't really work on sets, if they just start producing immediately, they don't know how problems that shouldn't be problems become problems. Yeah. He gets it. So that would actually make a lot more sense. So, I mean, looking at the history of a lot of these, the people that are working on it, for instance, Tamara Smith, who is the associate producer, she was also Joel Silver's assistant on Jumpin' Jack Flash, Lethal Weapon, and Predator.
Wow.
What?
So you want to have these people because, she worked as an assistant to a major producer.
Exactly. Yeah. So a lot of these people who were different assistants and ADs and their background, they understand how this movie ran. So I imagine that working on this movie ran very smoothly.
Yeah, I mean, I guess from any outside maybe interferences with weather.
Aside
from that. Yeah. But I mean, they would plan for that. But they also knew, I mean, you work as an AD, you know the paperwork, you know the decisions that can cost you a lot more money. Also, when you're an assistant to a big producer, I mean, you hear everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, Robert Rodriguez moves very fast on set. He knows what he wants.
He's usually when he shoots a movie, if you look at the credits, he's usually the director. He's the editor. He's the editor. He's also, he'll be the cinematographer and the camera op.
Yeah.
He's like everything. Like he's
a Soderbergh.
he blows right through it. He's very smart. I mean, if you watch, the commentary for El Mariachi, or if you watch, or if
I read his book, Rebel Without a Crew.
He said that he would have been the main star, but he wouldn't have had anyone to control the camera. It's like, wow, this man really does everything.
Yeah. And he got Beltrami to do the score. It's a legit score on this movie, The Faculty, Marcos Beltrami.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. Dude's legit. So he uses the same people over and over, and he also brings an experienced crew, right?
Yeah. He brings in people that have background in almost just about everything. And it's almost like that they all know exactly what to do.
Nice.
And they can, help each other out. The producer, Elizabeth Avila, I think that's how you say her last name. But she's been a long-time collaborator with Robert Rodriguez. She started with him on El Mariachi.
Wow.
So she knows how his movies work, and she's done every movie that he's done ever since.
I mean, it's good to have a producer who knows how you work.
Oh, yeah, that's the best way to
obviously.
do it. Yeah. Why not? Let's bring in this guy.
I don't know. Who are you? Produce for me. Yeah, sure. What kind of movie is this? It's a creature feature. Oh,
it's a romantic comedy about an alien invasion.
Yeah, let's do it. I also like the conversations in this movie that they did kind of ring of Scream, but I like them talking about when it was Stokes and Elijah Wood. They're talking about invasions of the body snatchers and that kind of stuff. Or maybe it is fiction that was based on truth, but that didn't go anywhere, actually.
I wish they would have dabbled a little bit more on that, because that seemed like something that would have been very fitting for this.
Because that almost seemed like a waste of time, because it was just one queen who landed on Earth because she escapes Jensen, and she's just getting a town, right? So there's no big government conspiracy.
Yeah, or was it? Was this a whole... But if they would have done that, do you think it would have worked? Because I don't think the conspiracy movies were really in full swing yet at that time. Because in the late 90s, it was more about like high school, having fun, horror. It wasn't like, let's get into a conspiracy about this movie. And they didn't have that. I don't know if it would have been...
conspiracy theory.
That was like 97?
So a year before?
Yeah. But was that really well received? But it was, because was it Mel Gibson, right?
Yeah. And then Patrick Stewart and Julia Roberts.
That's right.
Julia Roberts was crushing it in the 90s, too.
Yeah, she was killing it.
Yeah. I worked in the theater when Runaway Bride came out.
Oh, man.
So this is... I worked in a theater before Netflix or stadium seating or any of that. Blair Witch and Runaway Bride opened the same weekend. every theater was sold out because people go see that movie. That they were sold out, so they would just buy tickets to other movies. You could barely move in the lobby.
Oh my God. I have a really interesting story about the Blair Witch, but
yeah, we'll save it.
Yeah, save it for the Blair Witch.
We'll save it for the Blair Witch Redux.
Oh, I actually visited the woods that
Nice.
they filmed that. You know,
Cool.
you know what I found most interesting about that was that it was right near.
Sure, share the story. Let's hear it.
Sure.
99. This movie took place in 98. This is 99. It's fine.
I think it took place in 96 was whenever Blair Witch actually took place.
It was released in 99.
It took place because there's a line of dialogue whenever Mike says, 400 games of Cal Ripken Jr. and he's never missed one of them and I'm stuck in the woods. Remember that? Because that happened in 96, if I'm not mistaken. Cal Ripken had his unbeatable streak. But I went to the actual woods when I went back home to Pennsylvania. I'm from Pennsylvania. I went back to Pennsylvania for Christmas, and they filmed the Blair Witch Project not very far from where I grew up. So I went to go visit those actual woods, which was roughly about an hour away. What I found most interesting about it was that it was surrounded. I mean, it was the woods, but it was surrounded by a gigantic lake. So it would have been almost impossible for them not to showcase the lake, because I looked at the lake and I was like, this is gorgeous. I don't know if you looked at my Instagram post, but all those wonderful, beautiful pictures that I took in the woods and of the lake during Christmas time was there, because it's just a beautiful woods. And it had this lake, and I was like, they must have had a very hard time not showcasing this lake, because the first thing that an audience
shoot around it, right?
Yeah, they had to have, and it's crazy how they did not show that lake. Also, what I found was most interesting about it was that there is no actual paths in these woods. They still don't really have a path. Like they have a path that's around the lake, and it's markered off. But apparently, from talking to a local that lives around there, they said that they only recently put those markers there. So they weren't there originally, but it's just a free range park, basically. Just
and that's how they got lost pretty good, right?
I mean, in reality, it would have been similar to shooting a film in Kennesaw Mountain.
You got it.
It would have been real easy, but
I like Kennesaw Mountain.
I love Kennesaw Mountain.
It's a nice little hike.
I try to do it once a week.
Nice.
I love it.
That's a hike for you, though, isn't it? Literally. Buckhead to Kennesaw?
25-minute drive, maybe.
Oh, okay.
I don't go there.
That's a hike for you. Jeez. So, did you find anything else there for Blair Witch, or is that it?
From the Blair Witch
Project? Yeah, when you were out there?
Yeah, I mean, I found a lot of different things. Apparently, the house that's at the end of it was near Baltimore, and someone told me, you don't go there at all. They said even when they shot that movie there, it was very much like, it would have been hard to. They had people making sure that these people were not being attacked, because apparently this house is well known for people going to do drugs. So then they probably...
Because it's in the middle of nowhere. It's a good flop house.
Quite literally, yeah. They said that it's just a wooded area, and then that's where they shot it. But
these kids made this movie.
It's
guerrilla style. They just harass these actors. And
I went to Burkittsville. Burkittsville is not very big. The cemetery that they have the Welcome to Burkittsville sign apparently had been stolen so many times over the years that they actually put it on because in the movie it's right in front of the cemetery. It's not there anymore. They took it and put it on the other side of the town, and they actually brought it closer to the town because that way people wouldn't notice it.
Interesting.
It's a very small town. There was a beautiful coffee shop that I went to that used to be a church. It was really interesting. I mean, but other than that, I mean, it's very much a small little town.
Speaking of Blair Witch Project, what did you think about the scene when Sean Hardesty is carrying a croquet mallet to fight aliens in this movie in the faculty?
The croquet mallet?
Yeah.
I don't think I remember that part.
He's carrying a croquet mallet. I guess if you break it, you could like stab an alien with it.
Yeah, that would be, yeah. I mean, like, how else would when you be hitting people with a croquet mallet? It's like...
Yeah, it's kind of unwieldy.
It wouldn't be very practical. I would think it would break almost if you hit them hard enough. I mean, baseball bat would have made more sense, but yeah.
Did you ever think Mary Beth was the alien in this?
I didn't.
Really?
I did not. I didn't think she was an alien, although it would make more sense looking at it, more practical sense, where it's like this person shows up and then all this shit happens. Yeah. And then it's like, well, wouldn't she be? But it never clicked.
That could be a red herring, though. Like, oh, the new person you think it is.
Exactly.
And when she dumped all the drugs, though, on that thing, you're like, oh, she just wasted all the...
Made a lot of sense because she got rid of all the stuff that's going to kill everybody off. So
all the crank. Is that what it's called?
Scat.
That's what Jason Statham does in Crank.
Probably not the best name for a household drug that he's selling.
Imagine Jason Statham in Crank battling Mary Beth.
Punch right through her. It's like...
The alien swallows him and he just punches through.
Comes busting right out of it.
Jensen wakes up and something bad just happened.
Someone's going to go back to Mars.
He throws Mary Beth into the ship at Jupiter, and Jensen's like, oh my gosh.
It's like, I could go for another point.
That was 700 million miles Jason Statham just threw Mary Beth.
I thought it was a little bit less.
Wait, he heard that?
Wow. He's that tough.
So I know people watch the end of this movie and they complain about it because Stokes becomes not Stokes.